Is Icelander still viable after the bans? Let's take a look. Hi friends, welcome back to Nearly Sane Games. I'm Neil, and this is the Armory Report. This week's Armory was Blitz, and I brought out Icelander once again. Now, since last time we played Icelander, Stir the Aetherwinds and Snapback have been banned. These two hits are, I'd say, pretty critical to what Icelander wants to do. Stir the Aetherwinds gave us the ability to Emeritus Scolding on our opponent's turn. Very useful, a lot of damage able to get through. And then Snapback was just a good follow-up to have at all the times. So in their place, my deck list is mostly the same, except I brought in some Reverberates. Now the thing I like about Reverberate is if it hits, then we can possibly play something out of our hand. My thought is that if we have the Crucible, we can send over a blue Reverberate and pump it up by 1, and it's just 2 damage coming through, not a big deal. So if that 2 damage hits, we're able to Emeritus Scolding out of our hand if we have that, or potentially something else. The other thing I brought in was 2 red Absorbent Ethers. This is a defense reaction that gives our next attack +2 arcane damage. Our next arcane attack. This works well with blue cards in the arsenal. We're able to send that over, and we're able to block something for 4. Costs 1, but we're able to block something for 4, add 2 onto our blue that we pass out of arsenal. We can do that off of 1 blue. We can potentially say put a blue Emeritus Scolding in there, pitch a blue, use an Absorbent Aether, and Scolding for 6. Pretty good. I don't think it has quite the versatility as Snapback. I don't think that. I think it's still missing something. To put those in, I took out the Sink Belows, and this does hurt us a little bit. Sink Below doesn't have a cost, and Absorbent Aether does. But I think we had to make the trade-off somewhere, and I'm looking for pushing all that arcane damage. So let's take a look at how our matches went. We played 4 rounds, and my first round was against Ira. Ira coming in, I hate Ira. I hate Ninja, but Ira coming in with a little bit full of herself with 0 arcane barrier. I like this. This is especially good because I chose Crucible of the Kraken's Aether Vein for my weapon. So I can get free pings, draw cards. Things are going to be good. So to start off with, Kodachi's come in, and I take 3. Along with another attack, which I block and also ping. Come back with an Exude Confidence. He blocks 2, and I pump it up to 8. Get some good damage in there. Sends over Kodachi. Blizzard. Now, Blizzard prevents Go Again on a target attack. You have to target an attack, which I had a problem with a little bit later in the game against a Brute that wasn't actually presenting an attack, so I couldn't play Blizzard. But that attack loses Go Again unless they pay 2. And they also get a Frostbite token because I'm playing it on their turn, and it's an ice card. So it can come from hand or arsenal. They still get that Frostbite token if you're playing ice cards, which is great. And that just shut him down. He didn't have the cards to play after that. He couldn't pay the 3 and do something else. So 1 Kodachi for that turn. I'll take it. And I took the Kodachi. And I sent over a Voltic Bolt for 5 after that with a ping. This free arcane damage is great. He sends over a Kodachi and then a Command and Conquer for 7. I wasn't real excited about what was in my arsenal, so I block 3 and ping him again. And send over an E-Strike back on my turn. Now we're neck and neck, both at 6. And he sends over a Ravenous Rabble. And I absorb an Ether. Pop my stride, my boots, and send over a Scalding for 8. He sigils. Sigil. Urgh. But I happen to have a blue Voltic Bolt in my arsenal and play that as well for another 3. There's a win there for the first round against Ira. Second round, Kassai. Arcane Barrier 3. It's not what I like to see. So, we'll start off. I send over a Voltic Bolt, gets in for 2 damage. I'm running Crucible this round. He sends over an attack, and I send over Reverberate, Blue Reverberate, plus Crucible. What could it do? He takes it, hits for 2. Then I send over the Scalding for 6, and then he's sad. So I send over an Exude Confidence, and able to get it to hit for 6. And then get out a Channel Lake Frigid. He sends over an E-Strike, which I block. I send over an Exude, but don't really have what I need to pump it up that much. I think I had 2 cards in hand. He overblocks it, which I think he blocked for 6. I'm fine with that. I let it go, and I arsenal. And he sigils back up to 7. Sigils. I hate sigils. So now it's 7-2. And he drops blood on her hands. Full 6. Powered up everything. And I do an absorb and pop the Striders and send over bolts and with Crucible, and I'm able to send over 8. He's at 7, but he's got Arcane Barrier 3 and a blue in hand, so drops that. And yeah, I am dead. I can't do much about that. So I mean, Kassai is a hard match to play against. I think that that sigil was pretty well timed, and if it weren't for that, then it would have been a much different match. Okay, so 1-1 so far. Round 3 is against a Rhinar with Arcane Barrier 3, Skullhorn and gloves, I believe. Yeah. I brought Kraken's Aethervein in for this match, and I really should have had Crucible. I really enjoyed Kraken's with against the Ninja because there was no Arcane Barrier, and it was great all day long. But with Rhinar, well, Rhinar started with an Intimidate, and I'm able to block some. And I'm throwing over just small attacks. It would have been better if I had the Crucible with me, because then I could pump it up a little bit and start getting some of that damage over the top. But he's very aggressive at blocking my Arcane. He sent over a Pulping Dominated for 10. Which I got a little bit of a block on, but he had lots of red available to him, and he's able to block the Arcane very efficiently. And when that first Intimidate comes across, you have to think, do I try to fire off some Arcane here, or do I just let it go? And a lot of times I just let it go. Again, the difficulty was I didn't have enough Arcane to push over with that. And as we've seen in our Brute Commoner decks, Brute can be very efficient on 2 cards. Rhinar a little bit less so. He tends to need 1 to discard. But still very efficient and very big attacks, constant pressure, even if he's holding back blues to block with. And those blues to block with, especially against Icelander, is tough because Icelander just doesn't have the go wide power that Kano does, and able to pull cards off the top. You pretty much have your one blue that's an arsenal. You have Aetherwinds if you are the Kraken. If you have that, you can play that, but not much that you can really pressure on their turn if they're threatening to take cards away from you. And their attacks hurt a lot because they're usually pretty big. Yeah, and I managed to get a hand that was a couple of hands that were very red focused, which is really not what Icelander wants. I was getting multiple fire breathings in hand, which really don't want. You want to have one fire breathing and 3 blues. That's where the sweet spot is. And you don't want to arsenal fire breathing because then it's not a blue that you can play during their turn. Although, thinking about it again, arsenal fire breathing would probably be fine in this match. I was a little bit too anxious to play on his turn, and I shouldn't have been. And he also has good armor. I threw over knee strike, and it was pretty much blocked out. The armor blocks were good. His blocks were good. He's able to block from hand and still, throw over a 7 power attack. We're down. I'm down to 3. He's still at 8. He starts a Blood Rush Bellows turn. I try to ping him, which was dumb because he had pitch floating, and I just wasn't paying attention to that. He rolls his Bark Bone Strapping, rolls a 6 on that. He's got all the mana he wants. He's got everything he needs, and he just rolls me with that. I am not able to come back from that. That's another loss for me. So, round 4 was against Briar with Arcane Barrier 3. I brought in Heart of Ice for this. I thought that, not for the Heart of Ice, but just for the Arcane Barrier and the 1 block. And I really shouldn't have. I was thinking that I have the boots for blocking, and I'm running the gauntlets that you pay 1 and they block 2. Good to have that extra block, and of course Skullcap. But I was looking for a potential outlet I could have for these one-off pings if I wanted to pay for the arcane. The boots aren't very good because they're arcane 2. It's good for Rosetta Thorn. You could pay 2 and block the 2, but for these one-off pings you can't. You'd have to pay 2 to block 1. Not what I wanted. So I decided to bring in Heart of Ice, and throughout the match I was thinking, man, I wish I still had Tunic in there. So good note for later on. I send over so Arcane Barrier 3 and Briar. I send over a Reverberate, blocked, okay. But he has a crappy return. I might have taken some arcane damage off of that. I send over an Exude Confidence. He blocks 4, and I pump it up to 10. And we were talking about it or he was talking about it. He's like, I've got 3 cards in hand. Exude Confidence. Here's what it does. Here's how I can pump it up. He's like, so you got 3 cards in hand, so you can pump it up to 10. Okay, I'll block 4. All right, I pump it up to 10. Okay. He sends over a Plunder Run plus an E-Strike. Plunder Run not banned in Blitz. Plunder Run with E-Strike for 10. Did not want him to draw a card off of that, so I did a full block on that. I was able to, I think, use 2 cards from hand and use my armor. I was at lower life, so I could not use Skullcap, which was unfortunate, but able to block that out, stop him from drawing a card on that. I'm able to send over an E-Strike in return. Yeah, then I'm able to get in one of his attacks. I'm able to absorb an Ether, plus Voltic Bolt. Able to get over 5. Deal with another E-Strike, and I come back with Fire Breathing, but I don't have the cards for it. I've got, I believe I pitched a blue, and I had 2 cards in hand. One was a red, one was a blue. So he blocks for 4. I don't even bother to pump it up. I arsenal and pass the turn. We're down to 5 to 4. He decides that, he spent 2 cards to block the Fire Breathing, which works just fine for me. He decides to go for it and swing a 6 power attack, no cards in hand, no pitch floating. And I say, that sounds great, because I'm a wizard, and I'm able to Scolding with popping the Striders and hit him for 6 and take him out. So that brings my record this week to 2-2, which is okay. I think that the Kassai match, blood on our hands really hurt. The sigil really hurt. Things lined up pretty well. 7-2. If I had another turn, I might have gotten there. Again, I had 8 to use that turn, 8 arcane damage. I think that was a pretty fair match, and things just didn't roll my way. I think if the wind blew a little bit different, then things could have happened in my direction. Rhinar was a really tough match. Having Arcane Barrier 3 and blocking out most of my arcane damage and still being able to send 6-7 power attacks my way is every turn is tough. Plus having armor blocks available to you. It's just a tough match. And certainly putting in Crucible instead of Kraken's Aether Vein would have been better. But still a tough match. I think that Rhinar's probably favored in that match. But overall, okay. I still like Icelander a lot. I think that I want to get rid of this Rounds on Me. Every time I saw that card in my hand, I thought about it and said, do I want to put this in Arsenal? Do I want to give my opponents the opportunity to draw another card? And the answer is always no. I understand if Prism has a lot of auras out and can ping you a lot, the idea of popping that and stopping all of those pings is seems like a good idea. The problem is you don't want to let Prism draw a card. You don't want to give her a chance to draw another Herald and be able to Herald you. That would just be awful. So I think that card's got to go. I don't think that that's the card I want in there. Maybe some adjustments need to be made, but overall I still think it's a powerful deck. It definitely lost some power from the bans. There were definitely times I wanted to have Snapback available to me, or Stir the Aetherwinds is a much less risky option than trying to get the damage off of a Reverberate, but they can work okay. So we'll definitely try her again and see if we can't keep on improving her. So until next time, this has been the Armory Report.